Hi and welcome to another edition of OnsideSA, and it's nearing that time of the year when there's so many games over the Christmas period. And Budge, let's go into our last one standing as we always do. I've got the first sheet that you've given me. This is 86 of 93. That was from the weekend.
Weekend, Paul. Yeah, most of the big sides went through, or the popular teams went through. So everyone.
So Chelsea, Wolves, and Crystal Palace took guys out. So they moved into this weekend's run with 86 players. Now, of the 86 players, we've already dropped West Ham 17, Wolves 10, Newcastle 3, Leicester 1, and Tottenham 10 on
10 on tonight. Yeah.
They got to beat Brentford. Chelsea went through 2-1. Liverpool comfortably went through, but only 3 players, excuse me, including me. And Leeds United, a win for them. So it's very interesting. Already 31 have dropped from the 86. So everything to play for. Now let's talk about the ladies. Yeah. Catherine Armstrong, Michelle Toby, they're the front runners.
Catherine went through on Chelsea. Michelle's on Spurs tonight.
Oh, so she's through. Okay. This weekend, 7 entries can use Man City. Who they got?
They got Watford away, so they do look good things, Paul. And
Watford done well against United, done well against Chelsea.
You know, Man City, class team. But if Mo Moore's got Spurs, you've got 2 picks on Spurs tonight, and he can still use Man City. So if Spurs win, Mo goes through. There's 9 entries that can use Man City this weekend.
Okay, got you. Former champions left?
Only Sean Phillips.
Shorgan.
Yep.
Sean Phillips, well done. He always seems to hang in there. Now, again, the tote favourite has now been Lawrence Werner, but he's been joint favourite now with Rion Diaga. Yeah. So Werner's trying to hang in. Yep. His picks have gone through from the midweek.
And so is Rion's. Rion was on 3 on Chelsea.
So Rion Diaga, where is he?
He's Hamish's mate, Brian Belf. I met him by Hamish.
Okay, lovely,
Chelsea
well done.
Supporter.
2 picks, play the left.
Yeah.
Des Ferry. Yeah. Mo Moore.
Mo Moore's on, he's Hassan's nephew.
That's his name, Mo Moore?
Mo, yeah. He's on Spurs. Got 2 picks on Spurs tonight.
So he's through.
Okay.
Now listen, how are we looking with Steve? Steve, are you there?
Good morning, I'm here.
Hello, Steve. How are things there? Still temperatures down low?
Yeah, but I mean, it's to be expected. You know, it's supposed to be winter time here.
Yeah. Winter time. Summertime here.
Yeah.
Steve, onto the Premiership reviews. Yeah, Newcastle, Norwich, relegation decider. Do you think Newcastle did well to get a point after having a player sent off in the first 10 minutes?
I think so, because when you look at the stats, I mean, Norwich completely dominated in all areas, but Dean Smith himself admitted they just weren't clinical enough.
Yeah.
And actually needed a fairly late but great goal from Pukki to get. That's been their problem. You know, if you take Pukki out of the equation, they haven't got a regular goal scorer. So I think, I still think Norwich will go down, but I think that they relied too much on one player, and I think that definitely lets them down.
A team that rebounded, Leeds United beating Crystal Palace. I watched that game.
Yeah, I mean, I watched some as well, and Palace actually, Benteke had a couple of great chances to win it for Palace late on. In the end, it was a bit of a gift, the handball in the area, which was fairly blatant. And Rafinha, is the player you want to step up. So it was a big 3 points for Leeds, but it still wasn't overly convincing overall. They missed Patrick Bamford.
Yeah, apparently he played in the under-23 game on Monday night, so he's expected to be back. Well, you never know what the story is, but... Steve, your brother's team, Watford, a little bit unlucky to lose at home against Chelsea.
They put up a really good... I mean, I think the latter part of the first half and the second half until Chelsea scored, they looked like the team who were going... I think that Tuchel took a bit of a gamble. He rotated a bit, and although he's got the squad, you can't keep chopping and changing. And you just think if Lukaku's fit, surely he should be starting him. Bringing him on with 10-15 to go just doesn't really make enough difference, does it? So I'm not quite sure what's going on. He seems to think that Werner is the man, at times, and Havertz is good, but he's just not a big nine as Lukaku is. So look, they're still top, but they've stuttered a bit recently.
Yeah, Man City kept on winning against or beating Aston Villa 2-1.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, it sounded like at half time that they were in cruise control, but I saw bits, and I know you told me that Villa finished very strongly, but maybe unlucky not to get something out of the game. So I think that says that City, slightly under par, but are winning, and Villa probably are doing enough under Steve Gerrard to say that they're going to be, fairly safe this season.
Yeah, what was interesting on that game, Jack Grealish came on with about 7-8 minutes to go. He got booed for the initial 20-30 seconds, and then you got a round of applause from the balance of the fans. That was good to see. The booing, I wasn't impressed.
Yeah.
He could have left them when they got relegated.
Yeah, very much so. In fact, if it wasn't for the fact they had a change of ownership after they lost the playoff final to Fulham, they were all ready to sell him because they were in desperate need financially. So, he signed a new contract, stayed. It's his boyhood club. He's already said he'd love to go back to Villa one day, possibly. So, I think unless he hadn't bad-mouthed them. So, I think it's just frustration, with some fans. And then obviously people realise that you don't boo the player who's been your best player, for the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, and he left with 100 million in the bank. Steve, West Ham Brighton, did you see much of that game?
I saw quite a bit of the parts. Brighton actually had a lot of the game.
Yeah.
But West Ham obviously got that early goal, but they didn't quite do enough to put Brighton to the. And Brighton, as we know, are a hard team to beat on the road. I saw the equaliser. It was a well taken goal by Mopé after they were down to 10 men when they'd used up all their subs. And Arnold went off injured. So. Yeah, so I think that was I think again West Ham have stuttered a little bit the last few games, and you can see that they're still in 4th place, but only just. But they're 7 points adrift now of 3rd.
Yeah, no, they'll be hanging. I think through the top 3 are well clear. The 4th place is obviously up for grabs. Liverpool, impressive performance.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, that first 15-20 minutes, they could have been 3 or 4 up. I mean, they just completely tore Everton to shreds, and whatever game plan that Rafa had, was out the window at that point. Having said that, Everton sort of dug in, finished strongly in the half, and started the second half strongly. But once Liverpool got the third, it was all over, and I think it was just a case of how many Liverpool would go on again. So.
Yeah, Coleman. Now the Rafa Benitez, I know my mate who's an Evertonian was never impressed with him with his Liverpool ties. Fans were booing him at half-time. Apparently, some of the guys were left after 25 minutes after it went 2-0.
Yeah, that sounded a bit great. I mean, but obviously at 3-1 and 4-1, the stands were emptying.
Yeah.
No, I do feel sorry for him. They brought him in, obviously lots of promises, except spending money because of FFP. He was hamstrung and couldn't. His biggest purchase was Damari Gray at 1.7 million. So he's had to make do with the squad that he inherited, which is a lot of very expensive players. He hasn't been helped by the fact that he's had, part of the spine of his team out injured most of the season. Missing Jerry Yener and certainly losing Calvert-Lewin for best part of the season, and Richarlison suspended. I mean, it hasn't helped him at all. But I think there are some problems there at board level as well as on the pitch.
Yeah.
And, this is their worst run for something like 30-something years in the Premier League since that opening few games. So I think something's going to change. If it carry on, they were saying next week they're home to Arsenal, and if he lost that, he could be in serious trouble. So watch this space.
Talking of Arsenal, how do you see them going against Man United at Old Trafford tonight?
Yeah, I mean, look, they are one of the informed teams. Their only defeat in 10 was at Liverpool. But then having said that, United have showed a much spirited performances away at Villarreal and Chelsea. So I think it'd be interesting to see how he rotates the team again, whether he starts with Ronaldo, because obviously he caused a little bit of a stir by bringing him, putting him on the bench. I think he'll start him tonight probably.
Yeah, certainly.
I think United will edge it. I think it'd be a good, entertaining game.
Yeah, this is for 4th place.
Spurs certainties.
Tottenham certainties against Brentford.
I'd like to think so, but Brentford, put out. Having said that, it wasn't a strong Everton performance, but Tottenham need to get back to winning ways, and I think this is an opportunity for them, and it can propel themselves up to that top 6 if they get a win. So I think that he'll want to play his strongest team, and this is an opportunity for them.
Good on you, Steve. Good on you.
That's kept Paul happy. But
That's kept me
Steve, on to the weekend. Massive game kicks off at lunchtime. West Ham, Chelsea. How do you see that going?
Yeah, well, this is in recent seasons, this has not been a happy hunting ground for Chelsea.
Yeah.
And if West Ham raised their game for this one, and I think that although they've started a little bit recently, I think that David Moyes will get them fired up. This is a big game for them. I don't know what sort of team Chelsea going to put out. Reece James is still out. They missed him last night, very much so. I think I can't believe he won't play Lukaku. West Ham have got some big defenders, and I think that they need some more height. So I think it'd be a close game. I wouldn't be at all surprised if there's a little bit of a shot. I'm seeing the betting odds, and I think they favour Chelsea a bit too much.
Okay, the relegation decider, 20 against 18, Newcastle Burnley.
Yeah, huge game. I've said that if you look at Newcastle's run of fixtures after this, you can't see them getting many more points. So, for them, I feel that this is a must-win game, because if they don't, I think they'll be adrift. They're already 7 points adrift. They could be 10 or more points adrift by Christmas. And I think it'd be very hard for them to come back from that, unless they get a bit of luck or manage to sign the right type of player. But Burnley are a hard team to beat, and I think they'll go there thinking, this is a game that could put some distance between them and Newcastle. So I don't fancy Newcastle any more than a point out of this.
Okie dokie. The South Coast derby between Southampton and Brighton.
Yeah, Southampton got off to a flyer yesterday, and by all accounts were good value at 2-1. Gave away a late goal. I think this will be close. Again, Brighton, a hard team to beat, but as I say, a well-earned draw yesterday at West Ham. I think this will be very close. You could call it either way, but I fancy a draw on this one.
Okay, can Leeds United beat Brentford?
I think they can. I think that Brentford got a tough game tonight, and I think Leeds on the back of that, getting that win, I think they'll be buoyed up, and they're getting one or two of their players back. Rafinha back now makes a difference for them. I think they'll edge that.
Yeah, one thing I noticed about that Leeds when they played Crystal Palace, the crowd never left them, even if it was 0-0. Yeah, the crowd were right behind them. That was one thing I was impressed about them. Once they got the late penalty, I agree. And last but not least, this should be a cracker. Aston Villa, Leicester.
Yeah, I think so. Again, this has been a good ground for Leicester in recent seasons, but they're not quite. They got James Maddison back, who's making a difference. They obviously need Tielemans back at his best, but in the meantime, I think Steve Gerrard's got Villa fired up. So I think this is a game Villa won't lose. I think it'll be close though.
Okie dokie. Steve, the big game for you on the weekend, Friday night, Fulham, Bournemouth. I know.
Yeah, no, huge game. Yeah.
What do you think?
Rumour has it that Bournemouth have got a bit of a mini injury crisis. And whether or not it's just mind games, but Scott Parker's saying that he could be without his regular back four. Now, they've got Jeffrey Lerma out suspended, and in fact, he has a hearing for misconduct on Friday that could increase the length of his ban. I think that provided all our players should be now back after the sickness bug and fit, and that includes Mitrovic, who wasn't at his best last week. I fancy us to win this. I think Marco Silva knows it's a game that so much rides on it. A win for us on Friday puts us effectively 13 points clear of third place.
When they're playing?
So opens a gap.
Friday game.
On TV, yeah. So I think this, for me, this is a game that I'm going to really put my money where my mouth is, and I'm backing my team to win.
Yeah,
but will we get this game?
yeah, it's on. Yeah, we'll get it.
on?
Yeah. I must say I agree, Steve. My only concern, I watched Fulham away at Coventry. First half there was one-way traffic, and second half you were invisible. Likewise, the Preston game. I thought, maybe you did have a few injury players with a bug, but first half it should have been all over. I know the Preston goal could have been disallowed, the foul on the goalkeeper and 2 handballs, but I was really disappointed. But maybe this is your season in a way. You get a result here.
I think so. Certainly at home, when we've started on the front foot at home, we've gone ahead and we've gone on to win these games. So I think that's what we need to do, especially if Bournemouth are forced to play. To rotate their squad because of sort of players out injured. I think that's an opportunity with the pace up front around Mitrovic. With Cabano, Fabio Carvalho and Harry Wilson. I think they've got to get amongst them, and we can get an early goal set on the nerves, and I think that they're just going to go for the jugular. We can't sit back against them. So look, obviously there's a little bit of an edge because Scott Parker's coming back. So I think there'll be the crowd will be up for it. for it, and the players will be up for it. Mitrovic certainly will, because he fell out with Parker big time. So, he's got something, in his mind, Parker dropped him for big chunks of the season, and he's answered in the best way possible by scoring 21 goals for him in 19 games already. So, I think that it should be a good game.
Yeah, let's hope so. Coventry, West Brom. West Brom has stuttered lately.
They really have. I mean, as I say, they've fallen away, and the fans booed them off last week in their game against Forest. I think that with Coventry's home record, I don't think this is going to be an easy game for West Brom. Coventry put up a real fight at Bournemouth, having gone 2 down, and I fancy Coventry to maybe to inflict what could be their 5th away defeat in 6 games. So I can't see West Brom getting a result there necessarily. But again, even if they take a point off each other, it helps us. For Fulham, the big prize is finishing in the top 2. So I think at the moment it's all about how many points clear we are in the 3rd place. So if both of them drop points and we win, then we're even further ahead.
Okay. The Yorkshire derby, Barnsley versus Huddersfield. How do you see that going?
Yeah, I mean, Barnsley obviously now with their new manager, but I can still fancy Huddersfield to go there and get a result. They're on the fringes of the playoffs. They're having a decent run, and I think if there's going to be a winner there, I suspect it'll be Huddersfield. Okay,
another derby in Lancashire, Blackburn against Preston.
Yeah, I mean, Blackburn have really come strong. I mean, since that humiliation of that 7-0 at home to Fulham, they've really shown some good form and had a good win last week. I mean, Preston did play well against us in the second half, there's no question, irrespective of whether we had players not 100%. So I think they'll need to bring that second half performance to Ewood Park, otherwise Blackburn will win it.
Okie dokie. Last but not least, Steve, Cardiff, Sheffield United.
Yeah, I mean, Sheffield United obviously dispensed with the services to Visi Jukanovic, and then slightly surprisingly gave Paul Heckingbottom a 4-year contract.
Sure.
You just think, bringing somebody in who's relatively untried, to give them a contract as long as that. If it doesn't work out and he doesn't get them up the league, it just makes you wonder. But I think they'll go there as favourites, Sheffield United. But Cardiff have shown a bit more fight under the sort of interim managership of Sean Morrison. So. Steve Morrison. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think there was to be a winner, probably be Sheffield United.
All right, Steve, pressure time again. I need your best bet and best value bet.
Well, I said I'll put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to go for Fulham as my best bet.
Fulham.
And my value bet, I'm going to go with a bit of a surprise. I'm going to go for West Ham. I think at 37-10 at home against a team they have a good record against. I think that they'll be up for it, West Ham. The crowd behind them. In a passionate London derby, I think that could be an interesting game.
All right, Steve.
Stevie,
thank you very much.
All the best, Stevie. Thanks very much, as usual.
Friday night, enjoy the match.
Yeah, I hope so. Let's hope that when we swap messages a couple of hours after kick-off, I'll be in a good mood.
Yeah, well, we've got our money on Fulham, Steve. So
we're with you all the way.
We're with you all the way.
Good.
Thanks,
Steve.
All the best.
Bye.
Cheers. All right, let's go to Premiership fixtures. Budge.
Paul,
Again, we're going to start with the West Ham Chelsea, which was...
Paul, I haven't been impressed. Chelsea against United should have won. If that had been Liverpool or Man United, I think they'd have destroyed... Liverpool or Man City, they'd have destroyed United. You can't win the league with Werner.
I agree with you, sure.
Looking at the team, him and Havertz, they're good
players. They've got to bring in the other striker.
But Lukaku, Paul, I was going to back him last night to score a hat-trick. It was 33-1. He didn't start, so obviously I put the brake on the bet. But... Paul, this is a game. He'll start, Paul. But this is a funny game for me. I think there's goals in this. I agree with Steve. This could be an upset.
Okay, Newcastle.
Paul, I can't see Burnley losing. They've only lost 1 in the last 8, and that was to Arsenal. Remember the free kick? The guy bent it over the wall. I don't see Burnley losing this, Paul. I think Burnley could actually win it. I can't believe Newcastle haven't won in 14 games of 13-10. Yeah, they should have beat Norwich. Okay, the guy got sent off, but I can't have Newcastle, Paul.
Yeah, I agree.
Burnley for me.
Southampton weren't too bad last night.
They could have, Vardy missed a sitter in injury time to win it, but they have a go, Paul. Brighton haven't won in 9. They've drawn 7 and lost 2 of the last 9. So draws written all over this, but I think there'll be goals in it, Paul.
Wolves?
Liverpool can't score, Paul. Liverpool at the moment are destroying everybody. 5-10, Paul. Should be good price.
Okay.
Man City too.
Watford
Paul.
are playing well under the Tinker man.
Paul, they just, it's going to be hard to get the ball. Man City can defend. Diaz at the back's a bit of a thug. He's good in the air. Their goalkeeper, Edison, superb and crosses. Paul, 1 to 4 is not the best of prices, but they should win, Paul.
Okay. Then the next one we're looking at is Leeds, starting to get a bit of momentum.
Paul, I was impressed. I said, Crystal Palace are a good team, Paul, a decent team. That between 6 and 8, they're in that niche, and I think Leeds are certainties, Paul. Brentford play Spurs tonight. Their goalkeeper's still injured.
Not the worst.
Not the worst, Paul. They'll give Spurs a game. They'll be physical, but I was impressed with what I saw from Leeds.
Yeah.
Crowd still stayed with them, Paul. I like Leeds even money.
Okay. And then Man United Palace.
Paul, let's see tonight, but I can't. What I saw against Chelsea was
6-10 United.
I can't take 6-10 United.
Palace has started a little bit of a slide,
Paul,
but
it's fair. But Benteke, our man, Mr. Sitter from 2 yards out.
Onside.
It was harder to miss it than harder to score than miss it, but it was terrible. It was a good game, Paul, but I can't take 6-10 United.
So what are we going to put a draw?
United should win, but especially at Old Trafford. We'll see tonight, but win and draw United. But I can't take
Tottenham
6-10.
should be better than Norwich.
Paul, I thought Norwich could go there and give Newcastle a game, and when the guy got sent off, it was Clark. I thought this is it, but they stuttered.
They don't score enough.
They don't score enough, Paul. I think they've only scored 8 goals the whole season. Depends on Spurs, like Man United. Get you out.
Who turns up? Yeah,
who turns up? It should be Tottenham all day, Paul, but 4-10 is a bit short.
Villa, Leicester City. Now, I watched a bit of Leicester City last night, Budge. I thought they played well. Is Tielemans back?
No, he never played last night. He's the key to the whole team.
Yeah, Madison played well.
Madison plays. Good player, Paul. I was impressed the last half an hour with what I saw of Aston Villa against Man City.
Did Aston Villa play well?
Yeah, Paul, but Man City are a superb team. Typical Spanish team, even though, Guardiola, like the Barcelona ball, they keep the ball, but Aston Villa had chances, and the youngster up front could have made it 2-2. Got stuck in, and
so this game
I like
could go
Aston
other way.
Villa.
Aston Villa for you,
Villa
Budge.
for me, Paul. Yeah.
Everton are on a greasy slope, on a toboggan going down.
Yeah, I listened to Benitez this morning, and his comment, I agree with. He said any other team, bar like Liverpool, with the mistakes they may got away with it.
Yeah.
This could be the upset of the weekend for me here. Arsenal. They get intimidated, Paul. I just think last chance saloon, and they aren't the worst Everton. I know they haven't been playing too well, but at Goodison, I think the fans will be with them. Arsenal don't travel too well.
Okay.
This is the upset of the week.
Let's go on to the Championship. This is a great game, Friday night. 9:45, Fulham number 1, Bournemouth number
Fulham,
2.
Paul.
Sorry?
I'm all over Fulham.
All over Fulham,
I just
okay.
think
Even
they'll win.
monkey,
Even
eh?
money, yep.
Coventry and West Brom you discussed with Steve.
Yeah, Paul, West Brom
Draw?
I watched them against Forest. They never really looked like winning. They had half chances. They don't look right. But Coventry at home haven't won the last 4. Draw is a big player.
Okay, now Barnsley, he likes Huddersfield.
So do I.
Steve.
Paul. Yeah, Huddersfield are 7th. Barnsley are struggling. I think they've lost 10 of the last
23rd.
12.
Yeah.
Well, you've got to be with Huddersfield. I know it's a Yorkshire derby, but 17-10 I thought was a big price, Paul.
And Budge, Preston North End, 5-2.
Yeah, Paul, first half you should have been 3 or 4 down against Fulham, but then we could have won in the second half. Blackburn have won 5-7. The only game they've lost at home was to Fulham when they got beat 7-0. Paul, they got beat 7. Fulham beat them 7. But it should be Blackburn, Paul, but local derby, and it's my team, so we went Blackburn in a draw.
We're going for a draw, just for your sake, Budge.
Yeah.
Blackpool, Luton Town.
Paul, Blackpool only lost 1 game at home. That was to Stoke, and it was the last 6 or 7. Luton have disappointed me. I've been with them the last few weeks. I don't see Paul, if I was having a bet, it would be the draw, 22-10. Yeah. Don't think they'll, Paul, win and draw Blackpool for me there.
Okay, and then we go on to Bristol City against Derby
Well, they've
County.
come right, Bristol City, but Derby, Paul, they got beat by QPR on Monday, fighting hard. Win and draw Derby, I think it was like 5-10. That's my play there, Paul.
Okay.
It's a 1-2-3 in exotics, but we had to narrow it down, so we went Derby in the draw.
Cardiff.
Paul, I like Sheffield United. I think they're one of those teams that are going to come and sneak into that 6th place in the playoffs. Cardiff, well, the new manager, they won 2 and drawn 1. They went to Preston and won. I don't see Sheffield United getting beat there, Paul. Sheffield United in the draw for me there.
Middlesbrough.
Middlesbrough going well, but Swansea were going great. We were on them last week. They got beat 2-1 at home. I think Reading beat them 2-1 at home, Paul. So another game, a draw in Swansea for me. I like a lot of away teams this week.
Okay, Millwall.
Paul, Millwall, another game, Paul. Birmingham City, you just never know what you're going to get from Lee Boyer's team. Millwall are hard to beat, though. Millwall in the draw for me there.
And then Notts Forest,
Well, I think
Peterborough.
Notts Forest at 8 to 10 alongside Fulham are the best bet in the Championship this weekend. I like what I saw when they drew with West Brom. Peterborough struggling. Notts Forest all day.
Reading Hull.
Paul, Hull can't believe it. I watched them early on. They were terrible. They won 4 in the spin. But, Reading, you just never know. But at home, Paul, we took a chance in the exotics. We banked at Reading. But Reading in a draw for me in that game.
Queen's Park Rangers, Stoke City.
Well, I think there's goals in this game.
QPR third.
Yeah, QPR third. Since Neil Horsman's gone there, they've only lost one game.
He's a good striker, Neil.
But, Paul, it'll be a tight game. Another game, Championship, which could go either way. But home form, QPR will be hard to beat.
Let's talk about yesterday's game in the PSL, Budge.
Paul, it was on. It was they scored was 3-1 to Maruma, but TS Galaxy had a placing off in the 20th minute.
Yeah, I saw that.
So it did a 3-0, 3-1 it ended up. Pirates play today.
They always beat Barocca.
Always beat Barocca. Well, let's hope so, Paul. We need another team to challenge Sundowns.
Yeah. Okay, let's look at the fixtures this weekend then, Budge. Amazulu in 8th.
Paul, I went
are playing
for
Royal
Amazulu.
Aim in 3rd.
Yeah, I went for Amazulu in midweek. They conceded in injury time when they drew 1-0 with Maritzburg. Royal Aim, they play out of Chatsworth, so it's a local derby. They're going well. I think they've only lost one of the last 10. Paul, our PSL games are always the draws. You got to throw them in, but I like Amazulu at 17 to 10.
Okay. Chipper Golden Arrows.
Paul, Chipper played 3 games at home. They've drawn the last 3 at home 0-0. So that's got to be the player there, the draw. But I like Arrows, Paul. They haven't played too badly. They haven't got the best of results, but Arrows in a draw for me there.
Dylan Kerr. He's gone to Swallows. He's the new boss. Yeah, he's the new boss of Swallows. He's got it. They've given him the jersey. I had a chap who lunch with him the other day. Nice guy.
Really, now, when we had the Juventus reunion, I went with Dougie Coetzee to Crusaders, and Dylan was there. We had a great chat, couple of pints. Good man.
Yeah,
he's a knowledgeable guy, Paul.
Yeah,
you get them right.
He doesn't say too much, but I liked him.
Paul, I saw his interview at Hollywood. He worked in West Africa, so he's been around a long time.
Yeah.
Paul, he could get them right. Maritzburg don't win too many games. But this has got a draw written all over it.
Yeah. Chiefs are going to finish second in the log, in my opinion.
Well, they've looked good, since Dolly and Billy they're looking good, Paul. But Cape Town City always give them a game. Eric Tinkler. I'm surprised no one's gone for Eric Tinkler at Chiefs or one of those teams. I think he's top notch. Got a fancy Chiefs, Paul. They're in form, going well. Won't be easy, but
bit of a poison chalice, that job.
Yeah.
Banned from buying players, and they're always up to something. Stellenbosch, 4th.
They just
Sundowns.
Stevie Barker's team just gone off the boil of late. Sundowns don't concede, Paul. So if they score, they win. Fancy Sundowns.
Okay, then Supersport versus.
Paul, I went for them the other week. They let me down badly. Sikakuna have only lost 1 in the last 7. They've won 5 of those games. Paul, it should be Supersport. But the draws a player as well. Yeah, very difficult with our PSL. We don't score many goals.
Tell me about your Soccer 6.
Yeah, Paul, kick off with our Gold Circle Soccer 6. I've gone the field in the West Ham Chelsea game. Likewise, the Coventry City versus West Brom fixture. I don't see Burnley losing at Newcastle United. I'm chancing Southampton to avoid defeat at home against Brighton, and ended up with 2 bankers. Liverpool to beat Wolves and Man City to beat Watford 2-1-6.
Right, the next one.
On to the Pumalele Soccer 6. Likewise, I've gone the field in the West Ham Chelsea game. I'm chancing Amazulu to beat Royal AM. I don't see Golden Arrows losing at Chipper United. I'm going for Morocco Swallows to avoid defeat at home against Maritzburg United. I'm going the field in the Chiefs Cape Town City looking for an upset because I think Sundowns will be too good for Stellenbosch 2-1-6.
Okie dokie.
I've Gold Circle Soccer 10. I've gone the field in the West Ham Chelsea game. Likewise, the Coventry City versus West Brom match. I've gone Burnley, win and draw at Newcastle United. I think Southampton will avoid defeat at home against Brighton. I've banked Liverpool to be too strong at Wolves. Second page, I'm going Blackburn Rovers, win and draw at home against Preston North End. I'm banking Notts Forest to beat Peterborough. I think Inter Milan will avoid defeat against Roma, and ended up with 2 bankers, Bayern Munich to beat Borussia Dortmund and Man City to beat Watford 288. The Soccer 13, we've got to take a few chances here. I'm banking Liverpool to beat Wolves, Man City to beat Watford, and I'm chancing Burnley to win at Newcastle United. I'm going Southampton, win and draw at home against Brighton. I'm going for Huddersfield Town to beat Barnsley away from home. I'm going Blackburn Rovers, win and draw at home against Preston North End. And Blackpool, win and draw at home against Luton Town. The second page, I'm going Derby County to avoid defeat at Bristol City, as long as Sheffield United to avoid defeat at Cardiff City. I'm going Swansea City to continue the away, hopefully the away results to avoid defeat at Middlesbrough. I'm going for Millwall, win and draw at home against Birmingham City, and ending up with 2 bankers. Notts Forest to beat Peterborough, and I'm chancing Reading to beat Hull City, 256.
Never easy.
Never easy.
Here we go, Budge's
on
best
to the
bets.
Premiership now. This is what is my best bet of the weekend. I saw it was 28-10, so listen closely. It's in the Watford-Man City game. I'm going over 2.5 goals, and both teams to score no. So it's Man City to win 3-0, 4-0, and so on.
So Watford won't score?
Watford won't score. So last week it was 28-10 in the Liverpool game, which arrived. So I think this will be the same. And I'm going Leeds United to win or draw, and over 2.5 goals in the game. So even if it's 2-2 or I think there's plenty of goals in that game. And I'm going both teams to score in the Everton-Arsenal game, 14-1. I thought it was a great price.
Okay.
Premiership over 2.5 goals. I'm going West Ham, Chelsea, Wolves, Liverpool, Aston Villa, Leicester, and Everton, Arsenal. 2,100 to 200. On to the Championship. I'm going Fulham to beat Bournemouth, Notts Forest to beat Peterborough, and over 2.5 total goals.
In both games?
In that game, Notts Forest are playing Peterborough.
Yeah.
So it's good. I think it'll be 3-0, 2-1, something like that. And over 2.5 goals in the Sunday clash between QPR and Stoke City. 2,100
All right,
to 200.
both teams to score.
Yeah, I'm going Blackburn, Preston, Bristol City, Derby, Millwall, Birmingham City, and QPR Stoke, 2,200 to 200. Our team goals only. I fancy a few lurkers this week. I'm going Burnley, Aston Villa, and Everton, all to score over 1.5 goals.
Jeez, we're going to get lightning.
200. I'd be surprised.
Budge, we need lightning. Those teams.
Sixer Nixer, I'm going Man City to beat Watford.
Yeah.
Leeds to beat Brentford.
Yeah.
Fulham to beat Bournemouth. Notts Forest to beat Peterborough. Atletico Madrid to beat Mallorca. And AC Milan to beat Salernitana. 2,600 to 200.
Right, that sounds good, Budge. That's interesting stuff. I think some of them could come in. But last one standing, still going strong. We get through tonight. There's 10 on Spurs. And then you get them one for the weekend, but it's dropping again. It's dropping very quickly. Any last minute advice, Budge?
Try and stay in.
Try and stay in. Until next time, try and stay on side.